Alcohol cravings absolutely suck. The amount of cravings in my life that I've managed to defeat are few and far between. When I drank alcohol for the best part of 10 years, it was always a craving that would pull me back to drinking. And when we get cravings, it's more or less game over. But what if I told you that there was a way for you to eliminate alcohol cravings once and for all? People think I'm lying when I say this, but I don't get alcohol cravings. I haven't drank for 7 years and I have not had a single craving for 7 years. But there was a 10-year period where I'd have thousands of alcohol cravings. I'd be craving it all the damn time. So what shifted in my mindset? Because I literally feel like somebody's just rewired my brain. It's like somebody's flicked a switch. And it's not just me that feels this way. We see famous people do this. We see celebrities say that stopping drinking's been so easy. It's just like, that was it. I've helped hundreds of private clients do this. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it. If we've not met yet, my name is Leon Sylvester. I'm the founder of SoberClear.com, which is a coaching company that helps business owners and professionals stop drinking. We use a totally new scientifically validated method, and what I teach is completely different to what everybody else does, which is why the stuff I'm going to teach you in this video is probably going to be something you've never heard in your life. And very quickly, if you want instant access to a brand new video training that I've just finished showing you how to control alcohol in as little as 48 hours, then click the link in the description. This new method is not about using willpower therapy or AA meetings. It's totally different. I do not publish this video anywhere else online, and it's already changing thousands of lives. So click the link below for instant access. Once you're on the next page, enter your name and email address and your free training will begin. It takes just 7 minutes to watch, but it'll feel like somebody flicks a switch in your brain. And honestly, I'm not sure when I'll start charging for this 7-minute video training. That's how good it is. But whilst it's still available, click the link below, enter your name and email address, and watch that video now. So, to understand this, I need to talk to you about the old version of me, because there are two versions of me. There was the version of me that was struggling to stop drinking for 10 years, and then there's the version of me that hasn't drank for 7 years with no effort. So you need to understand the thought pattern from the old version of me. Here's how it would go down. I would drink so much that alcohol would start creating pain. I might be fat, I might be lethargic, I might have had a fight with somebody, something bad would usually happen, and I would stop drinking. Now, the amount of time that I would spend sober would vary dramatically. Sometimes I might stop for a day, sometimes I might stop for 6 months, it depended. But alcohol would cause pain and that would lead me to stopping drinking. Then what would happen is, out of the blue, out of nowhere, I'd get this thought. So despite, I don't know, throwing up blood on a computer, getting punched in the face, despite something bad happening that would cause me to stop drinking, this thought would just pop into my head out of nowhere. I might see an advertisement, I might walk past a bar, and then, oh, this idea of having a beer would pop into my mind, or whatever, a drink, a cocktail, whatever. And what would happen to this thought is the thought would become a craving. Now, the important thing that we need to do in this video is really separate the thought from the craving and what to do in the middle. And that's what I'm going to show you how to fix. I'm going to show you how to break this cycle. But I'd get a craving, and then two things would happen. I'd either use my willpower, or I'd pray and I'd beg God to help me just to not drink for today. I'd do one day at a time, all of this stuff. And after doing this for some time, eventually the willpower would run out and I'd drink again. Now, that's how it was for me for 10 years. But then after making a true decision to stop drinking alcohol and really changing my paradigm and building this new worldview where I just see alcohol for what it is, there's been a shift. So now let me explain the new me. So the exact same thing happened. I got to a place where alcohol caused so much pain. When I stopped drinking alcohol 7 years ago, my life was at ground zero. I know that's not everybody's experience. I know for a lot of us is that we can hold down a job, we can have a family, we can be successful, and alcohol is a major part of our life, but that wasn't my experience. When I stopped drinking alcohol, my life was I had no money, I was fat, I was living in a friend's place. It was just a ground zero. But something shifted. It was like this epiphany moment of like, I don't want to drink. So again, I stopped drinking, but this time something felt different. But then something interesting happened. The thought of drinking still came into my mind. And in the first year of not drinking alcohol, the thoughts were quite frequent. And they just come out of nowhere. Just, oh, have a beer. Oh, go and get a glass of wine. These thoughts would just go. But there was a shift. I'd get this thought of drinking alcohol, and this still happens to this day, but instead of feeling like I was missing out and then ultimately getting an alcohol craving, something different started happening. I felt this sense of freedom. I felt this rush of like, oh, it's done. I'm thinking about alcohol. I don't drink it anymore. I've made a true decision. So instead of the thought turning into a craving, it became almost like this reconfirmation of my decision. I felt better and better about my decision rather than feeling worse and worse. I'd get this sense of freedom, and then the allure of drinking just no longer existed. So what changed? How did I break the pattern? How did I break the cycle? Because the pattern was almost identical. Pain, stop drinking, think about drinking, and then go from there. Well, it all comes down to my paradigm. It all comes down to my worldview. See, the way that we view things, the way that our minds work, the thoughts that we have are critical. If we see alcohol as something that adds value in our life, guess what will happen? When we think about drinking alcohol, that's immediately what our brain will do. It'll think about all the good times that may have been there when you were drinking. It will forget about the bad times because we still have this positive association with alcohol. But once you really see alcohol for what it is, and you stop seeing it as something that enhances your life in any way, the thought of drinking becomes this feeling of, I don't want to. My old mentor used to say, what you think about is what you think about. And when he told me this, it made sense. When I used to try so hard to not drink and, just spend all of this energy on not drinking alcohol and go to Alcoholics Anonymous and say I'm in recovery and I'm an alcoholic for the rest of my life, it's no wonder I couldn't stop drinking, because I'm thinking about not drinking all the time, which is ultimately thinking about drinking. My thoughts were still dominated by alcohol. I'm not saying those thoughts go away. Everybody will think about it. It's the world that we live in. We're going to get bombarded with advertisements. We're going to have friends that still drink, and the thoughts will come. But the big shift happened for me once I just started seeing alcohol for exactly what it was. Because boil it down to its core, remove this idea of how it's been portrayed in the marketing. Remove any link that you've got between alcohol and succeeding in life and celebrating. If you remove all of this nonsense, what is left? Ethanol. Poison, a carcinogen. What the heck? Logically, it makes no sense that I would ever put that stuff in my body. It makes no damn sense. But I never saw alcohol that way. I used to think of alcohol as a way to relax, a way to wind down after a tough day, a way to celebrate with my friends. So of course the thoughts would lead to cravings, because I always felt this sense of missing out. You ain't missing out on anything. If anything, when I think of alcohol, it's a sense of relief, a sense of freedom. I think, thank God I don't put that in my body anymore. So how do you build this paradigm? How can you get to a place where the thoughts just evaporate? Well, what I did is I used a mental model. I did something called first principles thinking. And when you use first principles thinking, you break down problems into their component parts and you study them. We can't use first principles thinking for every problem that we have in our life, because the opposite of using first principles thinking is just reasoning by analogy. So let me give you a very quick example. But let's say you're about to move to a new city. You've got the choice of 5 different areas. 10 of your best friends all live in one area. You are probably not going to spend that much time studying the individual component parts of all of these different areas. If all your friends have decided to live in this one area, you're probably going to make a pretty quick decision. You're not going to go and study the crime rate, the schools, the this and that, the pricing. You're probably going to follow your friends, because we can't use first principles thinking all of the time. It takes too much effort. But for me, when it came to alcohol, that was the number one problem that I could solve in my life that would make things 10 times better. So it made sense for me to study, to really just do the work and fix my worldview, because I knew that if I stopped drinking, the life of my dreams became a possibility. See, when I choose a school for my children, I'm not just going to send my kid to the first school that I look at. I'm going to look at the teaching. I'm going to look at the curriculum. I'm going to look at the sports. I'm going to look at the grades. I'm going to study every single school before I make that decision, because to me, that's a major decision that needs breaking down into its first principles. And with alcohol, that's exactly what you need to do as well. Not everybody needs to go this far, right? Not everybody needs to go as crazy as I did, but you've got to study this problem, and it takes time. It takes effort. There's work to do. It's not just going to be given to you on a platter. You're going to have to read. You're going to have to watch videos just like this. You may need to invest in courses, in programs, but you need to start seeing alcohol for what it is. Maybe for you, I'm the person that can help you. I don't know. I'm not for everybody, but for the people who I do help, it works. I show them this new paradigm and this new worldview, and that's it. We move on with our damn lives. We solve it like a gluten intolerant person solves their gluten intolerance by not eating gluten. We're not sat around talking about not being able to eat croissants for the rest of our life. No, but maybe for you it's in a book. Maybe for you it's a different YouTube channel. I don't know exactly the steps that you need to take, because it's impossible for me to know where you're at. But if you do want to see if it's a good match to work together, then click the link in the description and you can apply to join the Sober Clear program. We typically work with business people, with high-level professionals, and we have a new way of doing things. We get a 96% success rate, but we don't just work with anybody. We only work with people who are highly motivated. They're willing to see things a different way. So if you want to see if it's a good match, click the link down below, fill in an application, you can book a consultation, and we can see if this program and this method could be a good match for you. I'll speak with you soon.